Attention, attention, please. This is a non-dinosaur update. Now, here's Eric and William Stout.
What do you remember about that album?
Oh, I remember it was a fun job because, one, I love music and I love dinosaurs. And I know you're a big music fan too.
Oh, man. I'm a rock and roll fool. And I collect records like you do. What do you got here today?
Oh, man. Well, these are actually, most of these are bootleg record album covers.
Okay.
Now, that's not counterfeit. It's the Mafia that does counterfeit records. They sell basically facsimiles of real stuff.
Bootlegs where someone smuggled a tape recorder into the concert.
It's a fan. He's going to the concert.
Yep.
He's got a tape recorder, tapes the show, and then presses up a couple hundred vinyl albums and sells them on the street.
And this is way before the internet.
Oh, yes.
So you had to go to a record pressing plant to make something like this. What's this?
Mid-1970s. This is Bob Dylan, Melbourne, Australia, a live concert.
What year?
This is 1974.
Okay. Did you ever see Dylan in person?
Never saw Bob in person. I would love to see him. I love to see him now because now he's so bluesy, and I'm a huge blues fan.
Yeah.
Just
I saw Dylan 4 times. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. This is a legitimate album cover. This is the soundtrack to Rock and Roll High School. I did the movie poster for Rock and Roll High School, which is what they used for the cover.
And my pal Richard Whitley, who I had dinner with last night, wrote this movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rich Whitley and his partner. He met the Ramones. Did you meet them?
I did meet the Ramones. In fact, it was really exciting because Joe Dante and Alan Arkush were editing the film just a few blocks from my home when I was doing the poster. So they invited me to come to the editing bay to see what they were doing. It was so exciting. It was like seeing two kids in a candy shop.
Absolutely.
They were so excited. Alan was the director. They were both cut the film. And through them, I got to meet the Ramones. And it happened that the Ramones' favorite taco place was also my favorite taco place. So I'd run
that's
into
a bond right there.
Yeah, I'd run into them constantly there.
It's a fun movie. If you haven't seen it, it's a fun movie to watch.
It is.
What's this?
Now, this is another bootleg. This is the very first quadraphonic bootleg.
Oh my goodness. Quadraphonic.
Yeah, this is the Who.
Look it up on Google.
Tales from the Who. And it's a double album. And this is a takeoff on one of my big passions, which is the old EC horror comic books.
Yeah, I love the concept. I never saw the Who live. I met Roger Daltrey backstage at the Tonight Show, but that's as close as I ever got.
Okay, I saw the Who live every chance I got, and I saw them play Tommy in the United States for the very first time.
You are so cool. What's this?
and I got backstage to meet Roger in Arthur Brown's dressing room.
Fire!
And in the bathroom, I ran into Keith Moon and asked if I could snap a picture, and he said, "Like this?" I go, "Oh, wait till you finish."
That's a pretty cool day. The Yardbirds.
Oh, now this is a band I am really passionate about. Boy, talk about a band with guitar players.
Here.
First lead guitar player, Eric Clapton. Second lead guitar player, Jeff Beck.
And
Third
then
lead guitar player, Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
How do you miss with that? These guys.
No
were
band
incredible.
had better guitar players than those guys. Yeah, I love the Yardbirds.
This was the first semi-legitimate bootleg, in that when we were going to put this out, we found out that Keith Ralph, the lead singer, was living in the San Fernando Valley. So we contacted Keith, and in exchange for paying his rent for that month, he did an interview with us where we played the album, and he commented on each of the tracks.
Cool. An amazing band. Check out the Yardbirds. Okay, you got more here.
Okay, we've got more. We've got, this is the first Yardbirds bootleg we did, and I also did a family tree on the back.
Well, that's great. So you can go through all the bands that they played in, all their influences.
And what happened to them after the Yardbirds.
Yeah. Did you see the Yardbirds?
I saw the very last concert the Yardbirds ever played. It was in Los Angeles, and I got backstage and I met the band, and it was Jimmy Page who told me the Yardbirds were breaking up, and I was devastated. He said, "Yep, Keith and Jim are going their own way. They're going to form their own band, and I'm going to form a band called the New Yardbirds," which became
Led Zeppelin.
That's right.
Did you see Led Zeppelin?
I saw Led Zeppelin a lot. I missed the very first show. That was at the Whiskey A Go Go. But the second show was at Perkins Palace here in Pasadena. And the opening band was Elvin Bishop, followed by Julie Driscoll and Brian Auger.
Yep.
And then Led Zeppelin played. Their opening song was a Yardbird song, Train Kept a Rolling.
Yeah,
and
no, well, I
incredible.
never ever saw Led Zeppelin. I saw the Stones 3 times.
I saw them once. Saw Steel Wheels.
Saw them in '65.
Ooh.
I was there for the Stones in '65.
Was that your first concert?
No, my first concert was the Beach Boys.
Ooh. Where'd you see the Beach Boys?
So the Beach Boys in Chicago, Erie Crown Theater. They had just released Dance, Dance, Dance. And they opened the show with it, and they closed the show with it.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a great...
I got to see the Beach Boys for the first time in the 70s at the Whiskey A Go-Go, which
Really?
is a tiny, tiny club. And it was the first time Brian had played with the band in about 8 years.
That's
so
cool.
I was so excited.
That's cool.
And for the first 3 songs, I was really angry because they were lip syncing, or so I thought, until I realized, oh my God, the vocals are that perfect.
They rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. Like, I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl not too long ago, and I came for rehearsal, and all they did was work on those harmonies.
Wow.
They've been singing together 40 years,
Yeah.
and they're still practicing the harmonies.
Their harmonies are perfection.
What else you got here?
Okay, so we've got another Who bootleg. This is Who Zoo. Now this is interesting because this is not a live concert. This was rarities.
Oh, yeah.
45 B-sides, European versions, all different kinds of stuff like that. And when this came out, John Entwistle, the bass player for The Who, got a hold of a copy. He looked at it and he told me he hadn't realized how much unreleased Who stuff there was, so he released a legitimate version called
Odds and Sods?
Odds and Sods,
Ta-da!
and asked me for permission to use one of my covers on the picture disc of the CD.
I didn't know that. I bought that album, sure. No, wait, what's this? Beatles? You didn't do a
okay.
Beatles cover.
This is not technically a Beatles cover. This is an album called Beatles Songs, and it's songs about the Beatles, like Ringo for President, or...
We love you, Beatles. Oh, yes, we do. Yeah, that's
exactly.
okay. Yeah.
And so it was for Rhino Records, and I thought, okay, what should I do for the cover? I know. I'll have a sort of a cross-section of people at a Beatlemania convention.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, it wouldn't be complete unless I included the guy who actually collected one of the Beatles. And so I included Mark David Chapman, John Lennon's assassin.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's black humor.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, boy, it hit the fan when this came out. I started getting death threats. Rhino Records started getting death threats. They tried to release this in a plain brown wrapper. The boxes of the albums were being returned unopened by the record shops. We ended up in People magazine on the front page of the LA Times.
Oh, man.
And basically the point of it for me was, this is, enjoy the Beatles, but don't take it so seriously that you do something stupid like Chapman.
Yeah.
And
Good advice.
And this may be apocryphal, but I heard later that when Yoko saw the cover, she laughed and she said, "Oh, John would have loved this. This is his kind of sense of humor."
Yeah. Sense of humor with an asterisk.
Yeah, I know, because I've got John's the broken glasses down there, the catcher and the rye in his pocket, and he's being hugged by the Nowhere Man, because to me he is a Nowhere Man.
That cover must be worth a fortune today.
Did you ever get to see the Beatles?
Never.
Oh,
They came to Chicago twice, never got there.
So yeah, my first concert was a screaming concert, but it was the Dave Clark 5
I saw them, yeah.
in
Yeah.
Anaheim at
Yeah.
the Melodyland Theater.
Yeah, I saw Dave Clark. Let's jump later. Did you ever see Hendrix?
Yes, I saw Hendrix also in Anaheim. He and Eric Burden and the Animals were headliners. The opening bands were Heir Apparent and Soft Machine.
Hendrix, that was a good show.
Hendrix.
But my favorite show, and maybe the loudest show I've ever seen, Cream.
At the Whiskey?
No, Cream at the Chicago Hockey Stadium. My ears are still throbbing. Did you see Cream?
Yes, I did. I saw the farewell concert.
3 guys making so much noise. Wonderful noise, but oh, that was loud.
Yeah, I saw them at the Forum, and the opening band was Deep Purple.
Doors.
Doors.
Here in LA, you must have seen the Doors.
Oh, yeah, because they were the house band at the Whiskey A Go-Go after they took the seat from Love. Love got too big for the Whiskey.
Excuse me. You saw Love?
Yeah, Arthur Lee's Love. Oh.
I am such a dork.
I consider Love the first underground band because
Yeah.
my
On
aunt,
Elektra Records, yeah.
my aunt took me to UCLA for some reason. I stopped in the record shop and I looked on the wall and they had all the best-selling albums.
Yeah.
And the number one best-selling album was Love's first album. And
But they weren't on the radio. They weren't.
They didn't have a hit single.
Yeah.
And not at that time.
Yeah.
It was like, wait a minute, this sort of upset the axis of the planet. It's like, wait a minute, here's a best-selling album. There's no hit related to it. This does not compute.
Well, My Little Red Book was a hit shortly after that.
After that, yeah.
Now, Bill, I said my favorite concert's Cream. What's your favorite?
Okay, best concert I ever attended. Opening act was the original Steve Miller Band with Boz Scaggs,
Ooh.
followed by Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac,
Oh, man.
followed by The Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
Okay, so
But the
these are three,
headliners-
if you're making a sundae, these are 3 great scoops of ice cream. Who's the sauce on top?
The headliner was The Who. And The Who Sell Out, my favorite Who album of all time, had just come out. And each band played 2 sets. So if you got there for the first set, you could stay for the second set. And at the end of the second set, The Who smashed their instruments. So I was in rock and roll nirvana.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Oh, and $3 in advance, $2.50 in advance, $3 at the door.
Yeah, we seem like old geezers, right? But we are so lucky to have heard this music.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this was the stuff. Justin Bieber, yeah, who cares?
It was
Beyonce,
spectacular. Light shows.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
incredible.
We hope you enjoyed our non-dinosaur update. This is Gary Owens saying thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, here's a photo of me with Ringo.